Good morning. Welcome to our first quarterly review for the 2021-2022 school year. This morning, we're just going to take a little bit of time of looking through some historical data, as well as looking through some of our first quarter data to see our current reality and where we are as of this point. So as we start, we're going to look through some of our historical data. Okay. This is our math historical data from 2016 until last year. Note that we did not take the EOGs in the 2019-2020 school year. One thing that I want you to pay particular attention to is not just the grade level, but the cohorts. As in, our students that were in third grade in 2017-2018 would be our fourth graders in 2018 and 2019. When we follow these cohorts, we see how these individual groups of students did and either grew or regressed as the years moved on. So this is our math data. Here is our historical ELA data. We're going to follow those same trends and look at those cohorts of students and how they move. As well as our science historical data. So of course, there is only one data point for each year, as this is due to only fifth graders take our science EOG. So you can see over the years how our students have done when we have taken the science EOG. Our last historical data point is our third grade BOGs. So the BOG, or the BOG, is the beginning grade test that only third grade takes. It really is a summary of third grade material. So our percentages are typically low because it's seeing which students already grasp that third grade content. So now we're going to jump into the 2021-2022 school year. So this is our first quarter data for this year. So BOG, our third graders this year did take the BOG, and we scored 7.5% proficiency on the BOG. This is in our trend one of our lowest scores, if not our lowest. But like I had said, that this is a test that is doing a cumulative third grade material. And as we know, when they took this test, they were only 10 days covered so far in third grade. The ABC, so this refers to our watch list. So this is something with our Schools That Lead work that we have completed. You may not know of this yet, but you're going to hear more about this on October 27th and 28th. But what it really does is it compiles a watch list of students for attendance, behavior, and course performance. So you're going to have a time on either October 27th or 28th to really dive into our school data and to look into your individual classes to see who are those students that show up on my watch list for attendance, for behavior, and for course performance. BOG composite. So at this point, we had only done grades K through 3 for our BOG M-Class composite scores. So there's the graphs there on the bottom, but here's just some data when we're looking at it through this lens. Kindergarten, we had 18% of students were proficient, with 15% strategic and 67 intensive. This number typically is low for our proficiency as our kindergarten, as a lot of our kindergartners are coming in with no pre-existing knowledge of our content. So this is something that we typically see in a trend that we see throughout the years, and this will grow as the year goes on. In first grade, 38% of our students were proficient, 19% strategic, and 43% intensive. In second grade, 28% of our students are proficient, 14% are strategic, and 58% are intensive. And lastly, third grade, 39% are proficient, 26% are strategic, and 35% are intensive. From this data, we really look at who are the students that need our intensive interventions, what are we doing in class, and what progress monitoring and strategies are we putting in place that when we do get that MOY data, we see those growths in those students. Next is our BOY Mkt Math Data. So this is our number knowledge test that our kindergarten through second grade students take. So looking at this data with kindergarten, if we go across, 39% met the goal, 25% fell into the strategic category, and 36% in the intensive. For first grade, 43% met the goal, 31% fell into the strategic area, and 26% fell into the intensive. And lastly, for second grade, 41% of our students met or exceeded the criteria, 14% are in the strategic, and 45% were in the intensive. So our next steps coming forward with all of our intensive students for K2 is that they will be administered the AMC, and this will show us exactly where our students need to be focusing on for their intervention as well as their progress monitoring. For 3-5 this year, we used STAR Math. So this is our first time giving this assessment. Looking at that same data, if we look at 3rd grade, 44% of our students met the expectation with 5% strategic and 52% intensive. 4th grade, we had 33% of our students meet the expectation with 3% strategic and 64 intensive. And in 5th grade, we have 27% of our students who met expectation, 3% were strategic, and 70% were intensive. For 3rd through 5th grade math, what we're going to be doing with our teams during PLTs is we're going to be assigning long-term assignments for the most meaty foundational skills. So we will be working through this during our next PLT to figure out who these students are, as well as finding that skill and adding that long-term intensive assignment, which gives them daily work on that strategic domain or standard to make sure that they're growing in that area. Dreambox. Dreambox is a big Wake County initiative. They are really showing the correlation between Dreambox and what's completed in Dreambox to proficiency in math. On the top here is our predicted performance outcome, and this is predicting for the end of the grade how the students have performed so far in Dreambox and how much they've put into it. So as you can see, 42% of our students are on track to be at proficiency at the end of the year, while 13.2 are potentially on track, 15.6 are not on track, 20.9 our students have used it, but there is insufficient usage to actually put them in an area, and 8.3% of our students have not used it at all. We do have to take into consideration that pre-K and ECS students are uploaded into this, so if those students are not using it, which they may not be, that will add to our 8.3%. So if we looked at it together, though, that shows us that 55.2% of our students are either potentially on track or on track of being proficient at the end of the grade level, as long as they continue their tracks on Dreambox as they have. Just for September as well, we have here the percentage of students completing each lesson. So you can see that from July to August to September, we are growing in our usage. However, we really want all of our students completing those 5 lessons a week. Next to that is the distribution by grade. So you can see the percentage of each grade on how many have logged in. So this isn't just completing the 5 lessons, but this is actually logging in to Dreambox on a monthly basis. Some of these grade levels you'll talk as a team and say, hey, we all have, but like I had said before, our ECS students are distributed in here as well. So if we have a 4th grade student who is an ECS student, they will count for one of those students. As well as pre-K, you notice our 14 students, and if they're using it as well. And some school-wide initiatives. We have a couple of school-wide initiatives that we're really pushing for. We've pushed in the past years, and we're continuing to push forward for this year. Our first one is Google certification. With our current staff right now, 43% of our staff is Google One certified, with 7% of our staff being Google Two certified. For our professional digital portfolios, 61% of our staff have completed portfolios and are linked to our website. For letters completion, this is something that currently our K3 teachers have either completed or are working on, but it is something across the state that will be an initiative that all of our homeroom teachers, support staff, and administration have training in the letters. So this is the science of reading, and as of right now, we have 33% of our staff that fall into that category have already been trained and completed units 1 through 4. There are another set of 5 through 8 that we'll be working on once we complete our 1 through 4. Currently, this school year, we have 19% of that staff that are getting trained and in progress of that right now in our units 1 through 4. For first quarter, we wrote a total of 109 office referrals, so we surpassed our goal of 100 office referrals. Of course, for our positive office referrals, we want to make sure that we're giving more. 100 is just our goal, but we should be surpassing that every single quarter. If every staff member wrote 1 a week, we would greatly surpass our goal of 100 positive office referrals. And lastly, our affirmations on our affirmation board. Those are our hands and our feet. that you see on the wall and that we've been giving out. So those are just a little quick way to say, hey, thanks, or a shout out to someone that you work with, a coworker. Maybe they did something for you. Maybe you noticed some work that they're doing around the building. So it's just a great opportunity for you to say thanks and give them that shout out. So for first quarter, we had 20, and I know for second quarter, we can double that, if not more, as our affirmations weren't pushed out till halfway through the first quarter, and we're going to start them right at the beginning of second quarter. That is all of our data for today. Now you guys are going to be jumping into your quarterly review videos and giving feedback on our SIP committee's work that they've done so far. Thank you very much and have a great day.